We know that the brain is the most powerful organ in the body. It controls our actions, it controls our decisions, and it influences the way that you and I view ourselves. And when the brain is working properly, it's a beautiful thing. We're productive, we make good choices. And when it's not, well, then we make choices we regret. And anybody who's struggled with pornography or any kind of bad habit, any kind of sexual issue, just knows how frustrating it is when your brain works against you. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about how to optimize your brain for freedom from pornography. Practical things you can do that are literally scientifically proven to jolt your brain into a healthy state so that you can stay strong, so that you can stay free, and so that you can make good decisions day in and day out. My name is Sathiya. I'm the host of the Man Within podcast. I've dedicated the last 7 years of my life to helping men like you quit pornography, restore their lives, and live with purpose. And I'm super excited to help you do that today through some life-changing content. Really quick, if you have not left a rating or review on this podcast, but it's been impactful to you, please do that. It helps us so much to get the word out and to signal to other people that what we're doing here is significant. And especially, I want to ask if you're on Apple, if you could leave us a review, because we have lost tons of ratings and reviews. I still don't really understand what happened. We had, almost 200 5-star reviews on Apple, and our numbers are way down now. And so if you're willing to leave a rating or review for us, there especially, it would really mean the world, and it'll help this podcast continue to grow and to reach more lives. Now, I'm going to let you in on a little secret about this podcast, which is that we have crossed 1 million downloads. And I'm saying that because we are going to properly tease this out or celebrate it rather in February. We have some really big things planned. But I just want to say that you guys, when you leave a rating and review, it really helps. It helps us get the word out. Over 1 million, let me say this properly. 1 million downloads of this show, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of listeners that have been impacted because of you guys leaving ratings and reviews, sharing the word. And so if you haven't done that yet, please take a moment to do that. And if you've done that already, you've left your rating and review, then share this content with somebody that needs to hear it. Okay, let's talk about how to optimize your brain. Let me just start by saying, I have so much respect for you. Like the fact that you would listen to a piece of content like this to optimize your brain so that you can walk in freedom from pornography, I think is just absolutely beautiful. And I want to let you know that this is a really valuable piece of information that you're about to get. It's a couple valuable pieces actually. So number one, as a former university researcher, I can't help but geek out on the science a little bit. And I'm not going to get too deep into it today. But the truth is there's 4 major effects that pornography has on the brain. The first is desensitization. So that's kind of building up tolerance. That's why the stuff that you used to watch no longer satisfied you. So you watch more intense stuff, more niche stuff, more hardcore stuff, that sort of thing. The second is sensitization. And sensitization is when, you see something that's non-sexual and it still triggers you to watch pornography. So your brain has now associated non-sexual things with something that is hypersexual in pornography. And that's a really good indicator that porn has had some major effects on your brain. The third is hypofrontality, and that is where we have less circulation to the front part of our brain, which is where we have our sense of self. It's where we make executive decisions. We think long-term, delaying gratification. All that happens in the frontal part of our brain. And when we lose circulation there, you guessed it, we don't make good decisions, we lose our sense of self, and we can't delay gratification, we lose our impulse control. And the fourth effect on the brain is a reduced stress response. And so that means we literally just have less capacity for stress, we are in fight or flight mode more often, we're not as regulated, and our overall just capacity for stressors in life is a lot less. And these are symptoms that are actually observed in people who are addicted to drugs, to alcohol, and even to things like gambling and video games. And so it's very interesting to see these observed in the pornography addicted brain as well. Now, I say all of that to say that if pornography can rewire your brain, then so too can quitting it. If pornography can rewire your brain, then so too can quitting it. And it is crazy how quickly your brain will change when you quit porn. Now, this is not the episode where I say, hey, just quit pornography and your brain gets better. This is the episode where I show you how to optimize your brain to quit pornography and to stay clean of pornography as long as possible. And to do this, we are going to hit on 2 fundamental concepts of neuroscience. And this is so cool because they line up with scripture, right? Scripture says we need to take our thoughts captive. Scripture also says that we are transformed by the renewing of our mind. Renewing is an ongoing process. You think new thoughts, and then you think new thoughts, and then you think new thoughts. So we need to understand two things. Number one, neurons that fire together wire together. Neurons that fire together wire together. So what this means is the things that you associate with viewing pornography are very powerful. Everybody has a ritual for the way they watch pornography. It's a specific time of the day. It's usually a specific subset of behaviors. First I start with my Instagram models, then I escalate to this, and then I escalate to that, and so on. Maybe we even get into a certain spot in the house. We have certain things that are associated, and all of these neurons firing together, wire together. They create a circuit in your brain. And so that's why it can start off so innocuous, so innocent, just a small little thing, but you know what you're doing. You're triggering that circuit, you're activating it, and you know if that circuit stays active along, it's going to lead to you getting your ultimate reward. So if neurons fire together, if neurons that fire together wire together, then what you and I need to do is we need to break the associations. Let me give you a really clear example. If you typically watch pornography on your phone in your bed, then guess what? If you charge your phone outside of your bedroom, okay, at like 8 o'clock, you put it on the charger, you have a rule, I don't touch my phone after 8 o'clock. Guess what? You have just disrupted the circuit. Those neurons that used to fire together can't do it anymore, and that circuit doesn't get triggered the way it normally would. Let me give you another example. Let's say you watch pornography every morning. Okay, you wake up in the morning and you kind of have your routine. You go out on the can for a couple of minutes, you start scrolling at sports, but then one thing leads to another. You put your phone down, you make breakfast, and then after breakfast you pick it back up again. And just in that little 3.5 minute window, you go and you sneak in a little something before you have to get on the road and go to work. Well, what would happen then if you made a rule that you don't check sports first thing in the morning? How about you don't even touch your phone until you have to get into the truck? What would that do to your brain? Well, because neurons that fire together wire together, those neurons aren't going to fire because you've disrupted the circuit. So this is really, really powerful for rewiring your brain. It doesn't take much, but anytime that you break up the ritual, especially the things that you do early on in the ritual, man, I'm telling you, that does wonders for your brain rewiring, okay? Number two, the second thing is that a brain circuit can only change when it's active. Now, I've talked about this on the podcast ad nauseum. I'm not going to go super in depth into this, but you listening to this content is helpful. You have to think of these like these are pulling bullets in a gun. But what actually pulls the trigger is action. And so if the next time you start searching stuff that normally leads you down the path to watch pornography and then you stop right in the middle, you are disrupting that circuit because you activated the circuit and then you disrupted it. Now, in a perfect world, we would never activate the circuit in the first place. That's why we talked about our first principle, which is neurons that fire together, wire together. We don't even want to trigger those neurons. But if we head down that path, we want to disrupt the circuit. Let me say this to you a different way. Okay, let's say that the whole, you're like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to charge my phone outside my bedroom. Well, if you listen to this episode, but you don't go home and move the charger, then that circuit remains intact. And the next time you feel tempted, everything's just going to play out the way it normally does. So we have to disrupt these circuits when they're active. The next time that you're triggered, you got to do something different. The next time that you feel tempted, you got to do something different. The next time that you're lying in your bed and you're like, I'm going to go check my phone, you got to do something different. Okay, and this is what's going to continue to break up the circuit. It's going to disrupt it. And so these two things are really powerful. Now, here's the third thing. And guys, this is so critical because we're talking about optimizing your brain. The third thing that most guys in this space really struggle with, if you're struggling with pornography, you probably have bad sleep. If you don't have bad sleep, your sleep could be a lot better. And so I'm telling you, if you focus on optimizing your sleep, sleeping 8 hours a night, sleeping in a cold, dark room, making sure that you do the 3-2-1 rule, which is 3 hours before bed, you don't eat, 2 hours before bed, you don't drink anything, and an hour before bed, you don't look at any screens, you will set yourself up for incredible success. We're not just talking about habits with the phone and all this. Now we're talking about something biological. And all the data shows that if you really optimize your sleep, your brain will be in the best state possible so that you can fight those 4 effects that I talked about at the beginning. And that's what this is all about. So look, this was a little bit of a dense episode. You might need to go back and listen to it, but really take it in. And most importantly, think about your next step. What's the next practical thing that you need to do? Whatever it is, go and take that step. That's how you start to rewire your brain and eventually optimize it so that you can stay clean of pornography. And as always, if you got some value from this, make sure you leave a rating or review. Share this with somebody that maybe needs to hear it. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next one.